when they gave you the trophy, when you looked at it after all these years, it almost seemed like you could see a reflection in it.
I feel like I was glowing. You know, I feel like the reflection of the gold ball had just, just glowing all over my body. It was like I've dreamed about this moment. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be nowhere else right now. I felt like I was in that arena by myself. You know, at that point when I grabbed the trophy, I felt like everything else around me was just empty. It's a great moment.
So is there anything that you imagined, well, when I win, I'm going to, or it's finally going to, that you do when you won?
You know, because I grew up loving Michael Jordan. You know, when he finally won that first one against the Lakers, you know, he was emotional. He was very emotional. And I was like, wow, if I ever win a ring and I finally win that first one, that's exactly how I'm going to be. I'm going to be very emotional. Didn't quite turn out that way. I got too excited.
Stop me if you've heard this one before. You give LeBron James $1. He only gives you 3/4 back and change.
I've heard them all.
Not true anymore, right?
Nah, I don't think that's true anymore. Nah, you got to give me all 4 quarters at this point.
Have you become braver, more fearless, any of that?
Yeah, I think so. You know, and I think it just comes from experience. You know, when you fall and you fail so many times, you just say, you kind of just look yourself in the mirror and say, well, what are you going to do about it? You have all these other people around you, and yes, it's a team game, and yes, everything, has to fall in place with the team, but what are you going to do to help things become different? I did that a lot.
When did you start to feel cramps?
Around the second quarter, I felt that it was a possible chance it could happen. In the third quarter, it kind of happened again. I was like, if you could just make it, to the end of the game, and then when you get into the locker room, cramp up, I would be okay with that. And one move in the fourth quarter, and I knew it wasn't good.
I mean, you've played, nearly 1,000 games in the NBA, and nobody could find any other time that you had to be carried off the court. So that's how severe this was.
And I was like, okay, well, let me just take a couple deep breaths. I'm going to walk it off. I'm going to get to the bench. And my legs basically looked up at me. It was like, there's no way we're letting you get over there. So, they had to carry me over there. I was like, no, this is not happening right now. Not right now in a game that could turn a series.
When you did come back in, that three-pointer you took, clock ticking down.
Once he swung the ball to me, I wasn't giving it to anybody. Basically, there was another moment where I said, what are you going to do about it?
You have cramped in the past, sometimes with nervousness and emotion coming into play. Do you think nerves and emotion came into play at all in Game 4?
It was a possibility. I don't change my preparation, so it could have been a little bit of excitement, the moment, being in that moment again. It could have been a little bit of everything that led to that. And, one thing I know that I'm glad I got great teammates, because they was able to, win that game with me sitting out.
How has your ability to deal with pressure and nerves changed?
Well, it's not that it's changed so much. It's just that I've grown. Win, lose, or draw, I'm going to be satisfied with that because I'm not going to regret anything that I did out on that basketball court because I know I gave it, 100%.
When we look at the finals last year, you took 11 shots in one game. That's clearly not you. What's the mental block there that wasn't there in this series?
I mean, it can be unexplainable at times. The mind is a powerful thing, and, when you try to do something or try to become someone that you're not, it could change your habits. It can change with you've practiced all over the years. It can change the way you, believe in things and see things. And like I said, last year, I believed so much that I was a villain. I believed so much that I was this, Two-Face or the Penguin or, these guys going after Batman. I believed that, and that wasn't good for my game. I never played that way. I've always played with excitement and joy and love and then fun. That's what made me fall in love with the game.
It seemed after those finals that it was one of the worst things to happen to you, worst experiences of your life. But now that you look back and you see everything that came from it, do you still think it's one of the worst things to happen for you? Well,
it was the worst thing that happened to me at the moment. That's because I wasn't thinking outside the box at that moment. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me, to this point in my career. Because that experience helped guide me throughout this whole year, both on and off the floor.
There's a lot of moments for you in this playoff run. What's the one that you're the most proud of?
It would be Game 6 in Boston. The reason, because I think everyone knows my history with Boston, and to go into that game, with our season, could be ending in, 2.5, 3 hours, to come out of that game victorious. That was a special moment.
You and I talked the morning of Game 6. You were so calm. And people are asking you questions about Eric Spoelstra getting fired, about Dwayne getting traded. How were you so calm?
I just kept a positive mind. I just kept, saying to myself, this is not supposed to end this way. I went back to that mirror again in the hotel in Boston, and I looked at myself again saying, what are you going to do to make sure you don't walk off this floor once again, taking your jersey off before you get into the locker room.
You're standing in the bathroom at the counter looking at the mirror?
Right.
Really?
Not too long, though.
And you did such a better job this year not reading the internet, not really hearing all the things outside of you. Did you know then, between Game 5 and 6 of that Boston series, that people were ready to dismantle this whole team and declare you a huge failure?
Because I had been in that position before, so I can only imagine what was going on in the outside world about people, either, burying us alive, throwing dirt on us, saying that Eric Spoelstra couldn't win with this team, saying that I couldn't come through once again. I wasn't the leader, I wasn't clutch enough, and that D-Wade wasn't the player he was before, all the way down, So, I knew what was going on, rightfully so. But, I wasn't going to let that, that story continue to grow.
Everyone kept talking about your game face. Where'd that face come from?
I don't know. It wasn't me. I guess it was somebody else. But I was just focused. I was very focused. I was very calm. Even though I had that face, I was having a lot of fun. It might not have showed in my face, but it showed in my play. I was having a lot of fun out there.
You gave a great hug to Kevin Durant at the end of that last finals game. What'd you tell him?
First of all, he's a brother of mine. And we've gone very close in the last few years. First of all, I just told him that he's a hell of a player. But he's even a great person too. And for him to continue to work hard, and because he's gonna be my inspiration. And he's going to be the person that I look at each and every night and see what he did out in the game, because so I can match him. Someone that I want to compete with year after year.
A lot of people think that friendship between you guys just happened, but it didn't. You sought him out when he got drafted. How come?
Well, even going before then, I sought him out when he was in high school because I knew exactly what he was about to go through. He was have to be the face of a franchise, in Seattle at the time. So it's going to be a lot put on him, and how he approached it and how he went about it is, was going to be very key. So he's done it all the right way, and I'm taking absolutely no credit for it. He's done everything on his own path. Like I always told him, anytime he needed any words of advice or anything, I can be there for him, just not in the finals.
So you've got everything around you. It seems like your life is so complete right now. How hungry are you for another title? Because so much was satisfied by winning this one.
I know all about the greats, and I want to be one of the greats. So, I'm writing down my next challenge. And I'm looking forward to, competing and working towards, because I want to be up there with those names, at the end of my day. As one of the all-time greats, one of the all-time champions.
Well, back when you didn't know how tough it was going to be, you got on that stage and you talked about 8 titles. How many are we shooting for now? So what's the number?
I think, I don't even want to. A lot of people blew that all out of proportion, first of all. The excitement with the fans, was there. And, just having a lot of fun with it. But I never took that for granted on how hard it was to even just get there. We have a lot of our guys coming back. We have a great organization. We have a great coaching staff. So, and I will continue to improve. So that's going to give us a good shot each and every year.
Are you going to write down a number?
I will after after I'm out of La La Land. But I will write down a number, and that's 2. I've won 1. and my next goal is to win another one.
There were a lot of people after last year's finals that said that guy's got to see a sports psychologist. Did you ever do anything like that?
Nah, no, I didn't. I went back to the basics. You know, I talked to my high school coaches. I talked to some of the greats that played this game. You know, at the end of the day, I talked to myself. I figured it out. You know, you got to go out there and do it, no matter what you hear. You know, good or bad. At the end of the day, you got to do it for yourself.
I know that you've never asked anyone to feel sorry for you. You've got millions of dollars and a fantastic life. But you did grow up in the spotlight in this age of social media in an almost unique way. 16 to 27 now, everybody watching you. What was the hardest thing about having to do that?
Just always having to be on point. Never, feeling like you can never make a mistake. You're only human, and humans make mistakes. But it's the ones that learn from their mistakes and come back that separates, this human from that human. A friend of mine, like I said, told me that, the best teacher in life is experience. There's so much truth to that, and you have to learn from it. And it hurts when you're in that moment where you fail and you fall flat on your face. It hurts. But I guess at the end of the day, it's how you come back from it. It's how tall you stand, how passionate are you, and are you going to shy away from the fact that you don't want that goal anymore, or are you going to push through that wall?
You have two sons, and what do you want them to learn from your experience these past 3-4 years about the men that you want them to grow up to be?
I think the first thing I would tell them is you can't be perfect. Don't try to be perfect. It's impossible. No one is perfect. If you make a mistake, you have to live with it, and then you have to be able to grow from it. You can't continue to make mistake after mistake after mistake and then think that you're going to be able to come back from that.
And on the other side, with you as a son, those iconic first championships, Michael Jordan going and hugging his dad, Tiger Woods coming off the Masters at Augusta and just collapsing into Earl's arms. Was there any absence for you, and you had that trophy and thought, you know what, I have a dad out there somewhere, but he's not here?
You know what? I didn't think about it, but I knew I wouldn't be here without without him. You can always, think inside the box about, why my father wasn't around or things like that. But at the end of the day, I have no idea what that man was going through at that time in his life. The best thing he ever did was, make sure I was a part of his world, and I thank him for that. He has a lot to do with, my success.
And you've made your fiancée Savannah's family a little bit of a second family to you. Your in-laws live with you down here in Miami. What are some of the day-to-day detail ways that having Savannah, having the boys with you, which didn't happen last year, how does that help you through a season and through a playoffs to just have everyone around?
It helps everything. I'm a family guy. To be here year one and not have them around all the time, weighed on me a lot. And that's been a huge change for me, just to have my two sons, my fiance, my in-laws, my mom spending a lot of time out here, my friends being out here more. They had a lot to do with my success this year.
Let the coronation begin. LeBron James has helped crown Miami.
Who's texted or written or called with a little congratulations?
A little bit of everybody. You guys know who my friends and family are. My big bro, Jay. Text me and congratulated me.
That's Jay-Z for people who don't know, right?
Yeah, Jay-Z. And so many other great, people text me as well.
And Dan Gilbert, Cavs owner, also tweeted. He said, congratulations to both teams, but it's pretty conspicuous in not mentioning you.
The tweet was right on. That's what it was all about. It was, this is a team game. The Heat and the Thunder have some great rides and stand-up organization. So he was right on. It was a great year.
And is there anything you want to say to Cavs fans, the people who lived and died with you for 7 years and then felt so betrayed when you left?
They have a bright future, and one thing they got great fans. Their fans are unbelievable. They always came to support, and they always know they're going to have them.
Do you think that fans still see you as the villain?
I don't know. And, you know, but that's not even my concern. And people have their opinions and are going to have their opinions on, you know, what they think you no matter what. You know, I know that I've done it the right way this last year, and I'm happy about that.
I hear you're going to go do David Letterman.
Oh, yeah.
What are you going to say up there? You're going to be funny, you know?
I don't know. I am kind of funny, so I got to write my jokes down.